This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. What's up, freaks? How's it going, everybody? Yeah, looks like they're making even more progress. We got the door on now. Remember that opening where it was just open and it still needed to be cut? The door's on there, and guess what? It fit. They didn't have to cut the door down, but it goes right up near the top. And there's still a little ledge there. I mean, it works perfectly. It's like, you know, and then there's a window put inside, and I had to reorder the front window, so that one, that was too big. I didn't want one that big. It was ridiculous, you know. So, you know, it's going to be a window. I mean, it's really starting to... They said it'd be done in the middle of August. So that's coming up. I mean, that's not... I was thinking September before. Yeah, I kind of just have to eat the cost of that window. It's kind of lame, but just is what it is. If he might try to be able to sell it to somebody, but... yeah. And thank you up there to Dobby Smith. I was listening to my alternate theory last night in the Koberger case. That was pretty funny. I was even laughing at myself, okay? Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you know how people are talking about how there's a sunroof? These people are lunatics. The sunroof is a different video. It shows the car turning around in a different location, and it's not even close to the same time frame. It's like 12:30. And they just keep trying to sell that to all these people. I'm not sure what they're doing here. Koberger's car hadn't even left. It's like 12:44, this video. He hadn't even come close to leaving Pullman, Washington yet. How come people are watching this stuff? And acting like it's real? You guys are just... Not when I say you guys, if I'm not talking to you, if you're one of the people who... I'm only talking to the people who believe that stuff. You are a very gullible individual who is able to be duped. You're the ones that when somebody calls up on the phone and says, hey, you've won $1 million, I just need your bank account number, you're right there giving it to them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? All right, so anyways, as you guys always know on this channel, every single night you guys help support the channel. And that allows me to make an income on here. It allows us to make a huge difference at the end of each month. But here's the thing, everybody. If you're somebody out there and you want the best bang for your buck, and you want it to, all your money that you're sending in to go to charity, then just send it into a charity, okay? I'm not a charity. I'm not a charity intake company. I am none of those things. I just at the end of the month donate over 50% of the net revenue to help out charities because I want to do that. And our DNA fund, it's really a big deal. So that's the situation right there. I think you all probably pretty much know that, but apparently it's not something that other people seem to know. We know it didn't have a sunroof. It wasn't the car that was driving over there. It doesn't matter. The sunroof story is a joke. These are people just trying to get views and clicks. Yeah, no, so if you want to help out my channel and know that I still give away quite a bit of it to charity, then that's awesome too. That way, at least it helps me, allows me to keep doing what I'm doing, all right? Yeah. Good to see you. Right, and there's just, I didn't even know this stuff was going on because like I said, I don't watch other YouTubers. So you've got this, I only watch ones that are just sort of like entertainment. You know, sometimes I even watch a drama channel for a little bit because they're not really trying to pretend that they know something. But that's like late at night when I'm just trying to get something done. Who needs to be arrested? I don't even know what you're talking about. They both need to be arrested. What does that mean? We all know other people are idiots. Yeah, it doesn't matter what I say, or you know. I could say, I don't know. I mean, I could say, hey, I donate 25%, and they found out it's 50, and they'd say, oh, what a liar, you know, instead of going, wow, he underestimated, you know, it's just. Yeah, last 2 nights are interesting here. I heard all rumors that I've never heard. Yeah. So there's a rumor about this other guy whose initials are BK, and he was in the military, and they're coming up with all these altered. I saw somebody sent me a link. Please quit sending me links to other YouTube channels. I don't want to see these things, but I almost feel obligated to click on it. You click on it, and there's 7 people on a panel all mumbling about this other guy that was a military guy with PTSD. What does it have to do with anything? It's ridiculous. Hey, thank you, Jessica Schubach and Dean Darcy. I mean, it really is incredible. I couldn't believe it. They sent me a link. It had 4 people on the top and then 3 on the bottom. Those are just names, though. And they're all just... Yes, I'm super sleuthy here. We've figured out that a guy with the same initial... Let me ask you this. What do the initials have to do with anything? Oh my God, it's another BK. Well, nobody knew who Brian Koberger was. So what difference would it make? There wasn't like a BK initials put on the sheath. Not that you're aware of, Gray. I bet you when we think... Okay. Hey, thanks, Kathy Chapin. I need to get back into debunking videos, you guys. I got to get back into those, and I got to get back into those quick. These people, I'll tell you what. We got to get this music playing again. Remember this? Thank you, Kathy Chapin. Hello to all those rodeo clowns out there that believe in all the crazy stuff. Another clown on YouTube, literally a clown. A clown with the whole makeup on his face and everything is telling people that a guy with the same initials, BK, is the killer in the Idaho 4 murder case. No, it wasn't Brian Koberger. It was this other person. And the reason it's that other person is it's way more interesting to talk about it like there is another person. Yeah. Don't you love that right there? I have actually listened to this for 3 hours straight. It just keeps going. Now let's do. I'm gonna do an Art Bell flashback though. I always like doing that. Kind of sounds like his music too. From the green forests in the Pacific Northwest, I bid you all good evening, or good morning, as the case may be. Tonight we have on a fantastic guest, Linda Molden Howe. She's an expert on cattle mutilations and crop circles, and boy, does she have some crazy stories for you. Oh, and check it out, we've got a rodeo clown who actually is a true crime YouTuber. Hey, look at Art Bell was awesome. Art Bell is, without a doubt, he is the best radio personality, hands down. There isn't anybody anywhere near him that's ever been on the radio. Well, Gray, I remember this Paul Harvey guy. Come on, Art Bell is the best. Or was, excuse me. Man, he would have been awesome to be in existence today. He was doing this, like, he had all kinds of the alien stories, the remote viewing, ghosts, and all that shit. I mean, he would have been just massive on social media. He would have to mix in a spirit box from time to time, though. You know. No, he never did spirit boxes. He'd have to mix one in, I said. Alright, let's see. Thanks, Kami. Gray and the Freaks are the absolute best. No, it's not the guy whose finger was lasers off. Art Bell's a radio. He lived in Pahrump, Nevada, had his own little station, and was amazing. Anyways, hey, can I show your niece's pictures of wearing the freak gear, Danielle, or what? You sent it to me. It looks, I mean, these, you guys got to get the girl code shirts, you guys. All right, well, I'll just play one, just kind of, let's see which one. This one was good. Okay, hold on a second. Look at that. That's her. This looks just like Danielle right there. You can definitely see she's related. But look at that. The freak, the girl code and Nefarious. Those look so cool. Look at that. So like there's the Nefarious shirt, and then the girl code one there. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? All right. So, anyways, if you want one for yourself. I didn't even realize there was those other colors. I guess I must have thought through that at the time. Yeah. There's other poses, and I like this one. Yeah. I like the green one. What do you guys think? Yeah, the girl code, I think, is something that should take off. Like, that is really a thing. You could bring it home and wear it, and your boyfriend goes, "What's that?" Well, look at the back. It says "learn" on it, okay? You got to learn how to speak to me, for God's sakes, because you don't seem to understand anything I'm saying. Right? Come on, you guys. You know that's true. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for sending me that, Danielle, and buying those, actually. No, it's funny. She does. I bet you that one's got to be. So that's your niece. Both of them are your niece. Are they from the same mom, or because the one on the left looks very similar to you? Mm-hmm. Truer words have never been spoken. Forgot to put the freaks, the goal, and the super freak on that one. All right, you guys we're going to listen to a Grady Judd press conference, and then we're going to get into the Rudy Farias. I went back in time and found like the original articles and so forth. And then we'll just go through. There's a press conference in that one that I edited, got the audio of the questions louder for everybody, so you guys should be more interesting to listen to. Hey, thanks, Cali Gal 3. You don't understand girl code. Well, it's those times when you're communicating with your friends or another woman, and every guy around doesn't know what the hell you're saying, but you two are absolutely just boom on top of it. You get it. That's where it comes from. That happens to me all the time in the chat here. Everybody's talking about something, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I can't even make it out. I spend, like, when a press conference is playing, I go read through and go, man, I still don't get it. And I just chalked it up to girl code. That means that you have the ability to communicate with each other in a way that guys don't get. Yeah. We don't have that. Well, we have the grunts, you know, that, hey man, how's it going? Yeah, I guess there is man code, but not really sure what it is. I think women are much better because they can just look at somebody's face or something and have a whole conversation. Yeah. Ah, well, there you go. So, well, good, Bama forever. Yeah, you seem like you're a pretty good communicator. No, really good, really. My son got married yesterday, so I'm feeling well. The women know. Girl code. Men do the head nods. Okay. You can mark my words, tomorrow when the show starts, somebody's going to say, the show begins at 18 minutes if you didn't want to listen to any of the drivel for the first 17. Yeah. Those people aren't rude at all. You know.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank
Yeah, I got to turn it up.
Today. You know, there's many different kinds of press conferences that we do from this podium. But the one that I'm going to talk about today is one of the most horrible, tragic deaths that we've seen in a very long time. And it was all because of negligence and drug use. Did you hear what I said? Once again, I want to make it perfectly clear there are those that still think drugs are low level and nonviolent. I suggest to you today that when you hear what I have to tell you, you'll think anything other than that, because certainly they created the atmosphere for what occurred. And it all started with a party on July the 4th.
How's the audio, by the way? There was a little hum sound, and it was really kind of low, so I boosted it up and got rid of that sound. It seemed like it doesn't sound too tinny.
And here's what happened. Joel Rondon and his wife, Jasmine, went to a party. They were accompanied at that party by many friends, and there were children there as well. They took a 6-year-old, 8-year-old, and an 18-month-old baby to the party. And the party went on through the evening of July the 4th, and about 2 o'clock in the morning on July the 5th, in the middle of the night, they left this party in downtown Lakeland at some people's homes to return to their house in North Lakeland. When they arrived at the house, Jasmine took the 6-year-old and the 8-year-old into the house, said, I'm going to give them something to eat and put them to bed. And Jasmine told Joel, bring the baby into the house. Joel then was taking some food stuff, some trays of food into the house. Jasmine went in to feed a 6- and an 8-year-old child, and she put them to bed, and subsequently she went to bed. Joel, when he was taking the food trays into the house, noticed the right rear door open. When he finished taking the food trays into the house, he noticed the door was closed. So now he thought that Jasmine must have gotten the child. So he went in. Jasmine was in bed, asleep. He went to bed asleep about 3 o'clock in the morning. Now listen to my timeline here. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Joel wakes up at 10 o'clock and is preparing to get ready to go to work. About an hour later at 11 o'clock, he looks at the 8-year-old and says, where is the baby? This 18-month-old little girl. Jasmine's still in bed asleep. The 8-year-old looks around and says, I don't know where she is. Where she normally slept, in the bed or in the room with the 8-year-old. So Joel starts to look throughout the house and he doesn't see the baby. He goes to the car and there is the baby still strapped in the child carrier in the car with a heat index 105 degrees on that day. He grabbed the child carrier and the infant from the car, runs inside screaming for Jasmine. Jasmine, who it's reported has some medical training, looks at the baby and says, I know the baby is deceased, is dead. Despite that, they grab the baby out of the car seat. They rush to Lakeland Regional Medical Center. And upon arrival there, even though it's painfully evident that this child has suffered a torturous death, a absolute torturous death, Lakeland Regional still worked on the baby to try to save its life. But it, in fact, was deceased. What's interesting about this is that the investigation begins, as you can imagine that it should. And here's what we discovered. Jasmine and Joel are given a quick test 17 hours after arriving home. 17 hours after arriving home from the party. Jasmine tests positive for alcohol and marijuana. Joel tests positive for alcohol, marijuana, and methamphetamine 17 hours later. So you can imagine what kind of shape that they were in when they arrived from this party and left this child harnessed in the baby seat in the back of the car. This child's 18 months old. She's not old enough to let herself out of the harness, but she's certainly old enough to realize that she is suffering a torturous death at the negligence of Joel and Jasmine. The investigation goes on. We determined that Joel has a criminal history. He was arrested 2 times at 15 and 18 years of age concerning a shooting event. At that time in his life, he was documented as a gang member. He also has currently pending against him charges of methamphetamine and carrying a concealed firearm. Those charges are pending at this time. He also has a history of resisting arrest. And now our detectives this afternoon are adding the criminal charge of aggravated manslaughter of a child, which is a first-degree felony. Jasmine doesn't have a criminal history, but she does now. She's been charged with aggravated manslaughter of a child. Now, interestingly enough, when the investigation began by our detectives, after the hospital tried life-saving maneuvers, which includes cooling the baby down, when we started our investigation at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, after the life-saving measures, after the body being cooled down, the baby still had a core temperature of 104.4 degrees. And this was like 3 hours after the baby was taken out of the hot car. 3 hours after the baby was taken out of the hot car and the hospital tried to cool the baby down. This rips your heart out. There's no other way to explain it. We all have or had children or grandchildren
See, what's weird about this case is that I think, see, it sort of reminds me of Justin Ross Harris. But what's weird about this one is if they didn't do meth and smoke pot and they were drunk and the exact same thing happened, it would just be considered a tragic hot car death, which they actually happen, you know. But in this case, you know, you can say that it was negligent. First of all, they probably were drinking and smoking while driving their kids home, you know, just prior to that. But you could say that contributed to the likeliness of it happening, you know. So I'm all for it. Like, I even think Justin Ross Harris should have got negligence, but they got him on malice murder, which was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Just like this right here, it's not malice murder. There isn't somebody, oh man, we want her to die in the car. You know, that didn't happen. But their negligence is so over the top here that you got to give them something, and something severe, right? I mean, especially doing drugs, and you have a little kid who just suffered immensely inside that car.
Both, obviously. Or nieces or nephews that have been 18 months old, and we know how vibrant they are, how active they are, but how fragile they are. And
this is where all the holier than thous come out. There's definitely examples out there where a father is driving a daughter or somebody to work. They don't normally do it. They get into, like an automatic pilot. They go to work, they get out of their car, they go into work, and they forgot that they were supposed to be taking the kid to daycare. It doesn't make them a shitty father. It doesn't make them an evil person. It doesn't make them anything, okay? It means that something absolutely horrific happened that day, and the punishment is that person has to live with that their entire life, okay? This is different because there's drugs involved here, okay? I know a case right here in Oregon where a father who doesn't normally drive their kid to daycare, he's a computer programmer at Intel, he had the kid in the car, he's supposed to go to daycare, and then probably the work took over his mind thinking about, oh yeah, the programming aspect. I've done the same thing, right? I'm talking about like driving around, I do the same thing, and I have had groceries. I always hate having this conversation because what happens is people always chirp back in chat with a ludicrous reply backwards, okay? What I always say is like, yeah, I've had times where I have a whole full car of groceries with ice cream and all this kind of stuff, and I went grocery shopping, but I was a computer programmer, and I'd be driving home and thinking about the program, and I'm like, oh yeah, shit, and I run into the house, and I start coding it really quick, and then I'm like, oh yeah, and then about an hour and a half later, I go, oh shit, I run out and all my groceries are in this car, and everything's melted and stuff like that. Now, when you go, well, a kid is in groceries, you sound like a moron when you say that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it's the same mechanism. That's why it's more rare, but it does happen, and it happened before. This case right here isn't one of those because there's drugs involved. Okay? Yeah, this is something totally different. It's the same as, to me, it's similar, but it's still less bad as, let's say a lady pulls up to a shopping mall or like a casino and goes, ooh, looks around and goes, okay, I'm going to run inside and just play a couple hours, and their child dies in the car. That one right there is a massive negligence. I would, they willingly, knowingly, intentionally left their kid in the car while they went and played. These guys right here, they didn't do that, but to me it's like drunk driving. This is right here. This is like them taking drugs is the same as drunk driving. Once you're doing the drugs, unintentional things happen, and this led to the death of their child. So this one has a different effect on it. I guess you are, Mona. I guess you are. Right,
this child from 3 o'clock in the morning until she was discovered was harnessed and could not get away from this. The investigation's ongoing.
You're not a moron, Mona, if you said you can actually do it. I have other friends that it's actually happened to. They just got lucky and remembered. I was golfing one time with foursome, and 3 of the guys said, "Oh God, yeah, one time they were in the car, but it was only like 45 minutes. And I remembered, and I went out." That's just pure luck, right? They could have waited another hour and a half, and boom, there's some deaths there. Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, what Mona's saying is that she could maybe do something like that, right? All right, great. Groceries aren't a baby, Gray. And all I'm ever using that for is an example of something I should have remembered, but I didn't because I got distracted. And, some people are overly doting of their kids and would, likely never forget. But guess what? It's almost always the people who say, "Man, I was always so perfect and everything." It happens to them. Okay.
The child otherwise was healthy in that it was not deprived.
Yeah, well, the news doesn't know about the ones where they lived, right? Like somebody ran over there. Oh, wow, an hour in, and you get it. They're not going to report, "Hey, police, I left my kid in the car." You're not going to say that. But it happens way, way more than you'd like to believe.
Deprived of food. The other children are not deprived of food. This is not an accident. This is pure negligence. And I suggest to you the core of the negligence is the abuse of drugs.
Well, there you go. See, there you go. That's where it's different. That's
And
where
who
it's different.
suffered?
It's like somebody getting into a wreck just driving, or somebody getting into a wreck while drinking. Now, the drinking is what is really at fault of the wreck. Just like in this case, you can go towards being on drugs, impaired your ability to think clearly, and give you a much higher chance of having that happen to your child. And by the way, isn't it weird that they come home at 2 in the morning and start feeding their kids?
Who died? The 18-month-old baby. So don't ever tell me that these drugs are low level and non-violent, because they're at the core of why this child is dead today. Are there any questions?
Can you tell us just any sense of remorse that the parents have? I mean, no matter how much you convict them, they're going to convict themselves. So.
Well, they are remorseful that the child's dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the
So they are remorseful. That means they didn't intentionally do it, but their extreme neglect by doing drugs, and one of them even had meth in their system, while trying to care for a young child and even 6 and 8 year old. That's absolute negligence, right? So it's a big difference there than just having your memory. You get distracted and you're thinking about something totally different. So the reason Justin Ross Harris, though, got convicted of malice murder is because he was distracted by, that's what the prosecutors used. They used the fact that he was distracted by something that society looks down upon. So they use that to get to a jury to, go for some maximum sentence there. I mean, I thought it was absolutely the most disgusting display of prosecutorial bullshit that I've ever seen. Okay.
Investigation goes on at this time. But I think the real remorse will be tonight when they're sitting in the county jail in an air-conditioned environment.
Yeah.
By themselves, thinking.
That's what they said, too, in the Justin Ross Harris case. When he was sitting in the back of the police car, it was air conditioning. How dare he? What? The weird part about that case, he was freaking out. He was yelling and screaming, doing all this stuff. He just couldn't believe what happened. And they said, calm down. You need to calm down, man. And they put him in the back of the police car. And then at trial, they said, look how calm he is, everybody. Look at him. Man. But you're the ones that told him to do that. You idiots.
It's nice and cool here when my baby baked to death because of my negligence and my use of drugs. And they are they will and have to be held accountable for such horrible conduct.
Any sense of, any sense of knowing that it was 3 o'clock in the morning, so there was some time the baby was just in there and it was okay. Any sense of what temperature, how long the baby suffered in that time when the temperatures really got to that?
Certainly the overnight temperatures are in the 70s, high 70s. And by sunrise and a little after, you're into the 80s, and then it jumps up into the 85 and 90 by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. The heat index we estimate to be at 105, so it was probably 94, 95 degrees. The car was outside, not in a garage, not under a tree, not under any shade at all. And obviously we will try to recreate with the same temperatures the heat of the car. Research shows us that the temperature of the car could have been anywhere between 130 and 170 degrees at that time.
We've been only
Yeah, that's so hot. 130, 170 in that car.
Talk about how dangerous it
Thank you, Jim Long. I panic when my dog gets out of the yard.
Well, absolutely. There has been
Me
record
too.
heat here. In fact, something that I don't know.
You want to hear something though, Jim Long? Where just above you said, I panic when my dog gets out of the yard. Right, but guess what? How come the dog got out of the yard? Were you looking at something else just for that little bit of time that you forgot? Oh my God, he's running around. Right. See, it's not like, it's just people, we're not robots, we're not computers, and crappy things happen.
Normally do. I sent out all mails to my deputies who wear bulletproof vests, to say, hey.
Yeah, I don't actually agree. See, here's the thing, everybody. I don't agree that all hot car deaths deserve something, because this has happened to incredibly awesome parents that did everything they could for their kid, and it was just absolutely devastating, and there's no malice whatsoever in their minds. Why would you punish somebody who had no malice, like zero of any? In this case, it's different because it's negligent, meaning they did drugs. But why would you punish somebody who has absolutely no malice at all, love their child, but their brain just at that moment got sidetracked, and they weren't nothing. There was no cue to put him back on track. You could go look it up, everybody. It's an actual thing, it's real. And I think most of you have done things similar in your life where you just absolutely forgot about something because you got distracted, and you got lucky your whole life that it wasn't a child or something like that. Ah, Jesus, Cindy, man, that's what I'm saying. Your brain just.
Hey, you have to start hydrated,
Anyways,
and you have to
get
stay
going
hydrated all day long. When it's 95, 96 degrees, the heat index is 105, 106, as we know that you all
Yeah, that sucks, Zoe. Jeez.
have reported. It is brutally hot for everyone under the best of circumstances. And then this child is shut in the car, obviously with...
Well, not really, because sometimes when you're absolutely busy, like I said before, when I'm thinking about a program and I went out and spent an hour grocery shopping, come home, and for 2 hours. Now, here's the part, though, what people don't seem to get. In the hot car deaths, the father, he may have even thought of his kid, but in his mind didn't remember even that it was his job to take the kid to daycare that one day, right? Or it could be that the you think you went to, like, let's say somebody always takes their kid to daycare all the time or something, and then one day they thought they'd taken their kid to daycare, but they leave the kid in the car and they go in the store. They would go through the whole day thinking their kid was in daycare, like, hey, did I lock that door when I left? That kind of thing. So what we need to do is actually just I guess there's cars out there now that let people know, hey, check your back seat, or do this, do that.
No movement of air, with it becoming hotter and hotter and hotter as the morning went on. And you just can. I mean, there aren't words to explain this.
I think every case you got to look at how it goes. No, it's not. It's not a cop out. See, look I'm not going to do this idiotic conversation with you guys again. If you don't want to look it up and learn how it goes and how it works, and educate yourself on it, then don't come snapping back with comments. Okay, go out and research it yourself and learn about it. If you don't want to do it, then don't comment on it. Okay, I know it. I watched the entire trial on it, and I've gone out and researched and read about it. It's crazy. It happens. Sorry for your ignorance.
And Jasmine's still in bed asleep.
Yeah, and I'm not giving these guys a cop-out, American lady. These two people right here did drugs, and it led to this thing. Okay? It led to this right here. It's totally different. They were on drugs. That's negligent. Boom. Okay? That's it. Now, you might go, sometimes I do think, like, in Justin Ross Harris' case, you could see giving him negligence because he was distracted by something that he didn't need to be, it wasn't like his ordinary day of work. It was like he was, texting girls and doing all kinds of shit like that, and he got distracted. So that's why it should be negligence, but the whole malice murder part, what a joke that was. So every case you have to look at differently.
Has no idea that her baby is in the shape it's in.
Yeah, so you're wrong, American lady. You're wrong. So that's what I'm saying.
The other children are with other relatives.
You're one of the holier-than-thou types.
Obviously has been notified and is doing a parallel investigation. They responded immediately. DCF works really, really close and really, really well with us. And their response was immediate.
Can you tell us where that North Lakeland home is?
What's funny is it's always the parents who say, God, it would never happen to me, and it happens to them. That's the weird part about it. It's happened to many parents who said it would never happen to them, and it happens.
Don't have that information with me, but...
No, it is. You are incorrect, Cindy, because I know what mechanism it is, and there's no malice, there's no negligence, there's nothing. Your mind just happened to wander onto something. That's it. Okay.
Folks can get you to the area of that. Okay.
Question with Joel being mentioned as the age. Do you know his current age?
Current Joel is 33, and so is Jasmine.
This is what's so crazy is I just wanted to talk about like this case, and I just brought up one how it's different than another case, and then you get the holier than thous jumping in, always having to chime in with, it just never goes.
Joel
smooth,
works for a
ever,
subcontractor, loads and unloads trucks.
Go look it up.
And was Jasmine being treated for medical training?
She said she had some medical training. We don't know anything past that at this stage of the investigation. We worked with them yesterday throughout the mid-afternoon and evening hours, and then this morning we started the investigation. So we're still relatively new into this investigation.
Yeah, well, there you go, Juniper.
But
apparently they're monsters and barbarians.
There's
Juniper. They should be
processes that you
stoned
have to go through,
and hung on the nearest
work with our
post.
state attorney's office. I've told you before, Brian Haas is simply the best state attorney in the world. And his office has worked very closely with us, and they're equally concerned as to the negligent.
Right. Their actions of not remembering that they had a child led to the death. But I care about intent. Don't you guys?
Of this child.
The takeaway from the sheriff when people dealing with transporting children or animals, pets in their cars.
Well, clearly that the new cars even have devices that tells you check the back seat. If you don't have such a device, then you need to create your own device in the front seat.
Thanks, Mark.
And it starts with the not being stoned on drugs. You don't think clearly when you're stoned on drugs.
Right.
They had been drinking and using marijuana, I'm sure, throughout the evening. He had meth in the system. I mean, that's just a train wreck. But that's a disaster waiting to happen. And here's one more person who's dead, a baby who can't help itself because of the abuse of drugs, which obviously created the
I don't get that one,
the
Jenny. You have to rewrite the last
mindset
part.
or environment that they were in when they got home late in the evening after a long party.
It's been a rough week for kids lately.
Well, it has. It has been a terrible week.
Yeah, I mean, but couldn't you say? I mean, let's just say that you loved your child immensely, like you just absolutely loved. You did everything for your child, and you just had one of these weird situations where you didn't remember something, and then it led to the child not being taken care of, and they die accidentally in a car or something like that. I mean, what should their punishment be? Shouldn't it be that they're going to have to live with the rest of their life with what they did? And then there's cases like this where they're doing drugs, drinking, then it moves it into a different realm. Right. Yeah, but what should their punishment be, though? That's what I'm asking. You keep typing in. What would their punishment be? American lady, what would the punishment be? Right. People won't take the time to watch that, a blank slate. But when you watch it, it really, people just won't take the time. They like to have the holier than thou position, and it makes them feel good, and how they're just so, almost, what do you call it, militant about how awesome of a parent they were. And so it just doesn't work. They aren't willing to listen or read or learn about anything different, a different thought, because it'll just be, well, I wouldn't do it, therefore they're all monsters, right? And that's where it gets a little bit, I get disappointed in people, right? I think some, like this case, they should serve jail time because of the drugs involved. The typical hot car death, I wouldn't say they need to serve any jail time, because there was no, it's almost weird that it's neglect, because neglect is something that you should have known. It's like you doing this is going to do this. There's nothing that they know that they're doing. Their mind went somewhere else, and they didn't come back until, oh my God, after they get off work, they open the car and they just realize, and the whole gravity of it smashes them in the face, that they forgot to bring the daughter to the daycare. It sucks. I mean, it's absolutely horrendous too, especially the suffering and all that.
The most precious things we have in our life are our children.
I know. You keep saying that, American lady, because you don't think it could have ever happened to you, but I bet it could have. I bet it could have. And then you'd be wondering why you're being punished when you were a good mom prior to that.
You think about it. Children have no...
That's what I said a minute ago. I think you have to look at each case individually and what were the circumstances surrounding it.
Decision-making process to decide who they're born to, where they live, what they're fed, how they're clothed.
They won't, Zoe. And even when they read it, they won't agree, because people are just... This is one of those cases that caused way too much shit. It was like the... not this one, but the Justin Ross Harris case, Trayvon Martin, all these different cases out there that make people... They can't have a nuanced position. They get just so angry, and they just keep going and going. Yeah, you could have, American lady. You could have. Trust me.
How they're taken care of. They're
I know you won't want to admit it, but it's
dependent
true.
upon their family, or their caregivers, or the person in
Well,
charge.
no, but that means let's say so Cindy, listen, if you're supposed to drop your child off at daycare, right? And you don't normally do that, and you just sort of go into autopilot because you go to work, and then you go into work and you just do your normal day like you normally do. You may even think of your child and so forth during the day, but it just be in a different type of way. And then it's like, oh crap. So what makes them negligent? Like, it's just, I mean, I get it. Like, they were supposed to get the kid to work, so you could say, well, that's all their goals should have been. Their mind should not think about anything else. They should put, like, But humans aren't like that. Their minds wander around. Yeah.
Charge of them. 100%. To me, that makes them that
Yeah,
much more
that doesn't
precious
matter, American
because their
lady.
entire life is possible because of
Yeah, it doesn't. The American lady tried to do the typical bash thing that they always do. Hey, especially people that don't have their own kids. I'm so clever and neat. What a joke. Yeah.
us caring for the children appropriately.
You know,
Well,
I
we-
wanted to have my kids, but I was too old when I got married. Okay,
You mix alcohol,
so go f yourself.
methamphetamine, and
Jesus
marijuana,
Christ, what a bush league
your
comment that
faculties
is.
to think appropriately are significantly damaged. And that mixture of alcohol and that failure to communicate and make sure that they got the food in the house, but they didn't get the baby in the house.
Was their BAC level at a point where it was legally drunk, or what was it? It was 17 hours later.
What they call this is a quick check, and this was 17 hours after. Now we preserved also.
Who the hell jumps in and says, especially for somebody who doesn't have their own kid? I mean, don't you think that's just the rudest hell something to say to somebody? I mean,
blood that we'll send to the lab and do some more forensic workup. But
I'd feel the same way if it was a dog. You know, if I had a dog and I was supposed to go drop it off at some doggy daycare and I got thinking about something, I drove somewhere, and I'd be freaking out, you know. It's just absolutely rude as hell to say something like that. Okay.
it just really upsets me that this child should have grown and flourished and grown into a productive teenager and adult, and now she won't have the opportunity to do that.
Is there any way for law enforcement to determine their levels at the time the incident happened? Or that's just something?
No, you won't be able to, but the fact that it isn't actively in their system, and they admitted to us, by the way, that they drank alcohol and smoked marijuana.
Yeah, so they weren't. I think this case is going to end up different than the charges they got. It just kind of depends on what the prosecutor wants to sell. But I mean, they admitted doing the drugs. They were freaked out. I don't think there's any intent, but there is going to be negligence. But I don't think it's going to be a massive prison sentence or something. It might be a few years.
You know,
or
that
something.
drug that
Not
people-
malice murder. Like, this is worse than Justin Ross Harris's case right here. This whole thing here.
Want to legalize because it's not bad after all. I think we've shown where the abuse of alcohol and marijuana and add in meth for.
That's what I thought, Mac. I don't know. That was weird. But hey, you know what? It's just like Thanksgiving dinner in here, everybody. I mean, this is one of those ones. Everybody's around the table arguing. But you could, though, American lady. That's what I'm trying. No, it's not rude to say that you could forget your kid. It is the truth that every one of us in here have the ability to forget, given the right circumstances. If you were, let's say you were very stressed out about something, worrying about upcoming layoffs, you're driving around, you're just thinking about it, you get home, you just kind of get out of your car, you're still really worried. You get in the house and you're sitting there and you're calling friends like, hey man, do you know any other jobs I might be able to have? Do you have any jobs? And 2 hours later you go, oh shit, I left my kid in the car. That happens, and it can happen to anybody. So that's all I'm saying is, their charges are manslaughter. I'm talking about Justin Ross Harris was convicted on the reason that he was distracted and got malice murder, as if he intentionally left a kid in there. And all the stuff they used in court to sell that were false. I mean, it was weird. It was proven to be false. But the jury, like some of you in here, get so angry about it that they just were willing to accept anything and gave the person malice murder. All right? And I know exactly how he got malice murder. Just look at some of the comments in here. Yeah. That means anything that the prosecutor sold to you, you would believe. No, he's still in prison right now, but there might be a new trial because they realize how outrageous it was. Yeah. Anyways, there you go. So I don't, you know. Okay, good for you, American lady. If you don't want to learn about it, then don't learn about it. I'm going to do something else. All right, anyways, you could see during that press conference there, the goal didn't even move, all right, because everybody gets so butthurt and upset about stuff like that we're now in a weird position over here. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next story. I mean, I spent some time getting the audio and editing it to make it fit better and suffer and potentially be exposed to even worse. Yeah. Yeah. Look at all the coalitions in there. The same people that always bitch about coalitions, building coalitions. Hey, thanks Zoe413 and Caligal3. My friend left 2 dogs in a car and got called away by a neighbor, and the dogs died. He said I killed my best friends. Horrible. Yeah, so the neighbors called him away, and he was in his mind. He said to himself, I'll just come right back and open the door. But after the neighbor was there, it totally distracted him, and his mind didn't go back. It's not common. That's why it's kind of rare.
Called away by a neighbor, and the dogs died.
Yeah.
He said I killed my best friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that sucks. But apparently he's a horrible dog owner, you guys. What a horrible dog owner that person is. He didn't care about his dogs at all because when he got distracted, he didn't go back. Oh my God, what a monster. Yeah, let's all just tell him he should be reported and sentenced to prison time for, I mean, especially since it's an animal. People seem to care more about animals on social media, man. If you hurt an animal, it's this, so here we go. What prison sentence should that guy have got in Caligal 3 story up there? How long should he have served? You know, he had the 2 dogs in the car, got called away by a neighbor, and got distracted, and then came back and they died in the car. So how long should that guy have been in prison? He cared about those dogs. He loved his dogs. Oh, but they're dogs. They're not children. I see. Okay. I get it. Mm-hmm. Okay, American lady. But here's what I do want you to go watch that documentary and go read about it so that you understand it better, okay?
Love you, Gray. We'll just have to disagree on this matter, Hart.
Yeah. But that's what you need to do, though, okay? Don't just let it drop there because you have tunnel vision. Try to, see if you can maybe understand it a little bit better, because it's a real thing. It's not really a syndrome. It's just a mechanism that humans, you get distracted on shit. Here's an example. We've said it before. Every one of you have driven down a highway and you're supposed to turn at the next turn, but you'd already started thinking about something. It's a place you didn't normally drive. Then all of a sudden you find yourself way down the highway and you go, oh crap, I should have turned back there. See, that's just a small, tiny version of it, right? Just a really small sample of it, but it's just how your mind gets distracted when it should be trying to think of something. And you go, well, the kid's different. Well, again, think of other times where it was something a little bit bigger. When you put some food on the stove, for example, and then you go, okay, I'll be right back. It's just cooking up there. Then you run outside to get the mail. Then a neighbor says, hey, what your... And then you start talking to them. And then you got this big, long story you tell them. And then you come back into the house and there's smoke everywhere because you completely forgot about the boiling pot of chili on the stove, right? See, and that's the same mechanism. Even though and that's why it's so rare, because children are always on top of people's minds, right? But the same mechanism can take hold, and that's the thing. It's just the reality. But somebody type in the name of that documentary again so that maybe someone like American Lady she can suffer through it to watch it. But you might learn something. You just never know. Yep, right past the driveway. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I would be somebody that would be, I think computer programmers and people that really have to think a lot about even in their job and everything, are more susceptible to doing something like this. Because they have a lot of stuff they're thinking about all the time. They're not just daydreaming about, some sort of new process at work or something. Like programming is, you're really starting to go, oh yeah, now if I put that if statement there, then start looping right after I put that. Oh yeah. Oh shit, and then I could do this and that, and then you're like, oh crap, then you run out of, you get home and you get out of the car and you run in to type down what you just thought of. And then you start building on it when you get there. Oh yeah, let me get it. And then you've just completely forgot about what the hell you were doing. Huh? I didn't see catering. I don't ever like saying catering her name. Is there any way you can change that name? It just feels funny saying it. Catering wench. That's hard. Mm-hmm. Right. There it is. Catering wench told me to say the name. All right. I don't know why there can't ever just be like a conversation. Yeah, this is another fake account. Here, hold on a sec. God dang it. Hold on, let me check something really quick. Yeah. Right. It's like a million of them. So should I just put myself in prison, you guys, for that whole conversation? That's what it feels like. Because look at the suffering. Let's see. I didn't see Catering Wench's story. Where is it? I can emphasize I once drove to work, forgot to drop my toddler at daycare. I knew immediately after I parked at work. Thank God. See, you made it all the way to work and you were just about to get out of your car, right? So you got lucky. You got lucky. Yeah, but I know a whole bunch of friends that say that. Oh, look at that. And he's in prison. There we go. Will Gray even make it out tonight? Given the topic, it might not be possible. I might be in here for a long time. It's very possible. Yep, oh no. Yep. Yeah, I was somebody typed in the name of the documentary up there. I don't know what it's called. I just read about it. There's long articles about how it works. Oh, it's called Death of a Child. There you go. That's the name of the documentary. Hey, thanks WNC Granny. Simple Life Days. Any support out there, you guys? Is there support for poor Gray, who just has more of a common sense, rational approach and thoughts on that? Hey, thanks Simple Life Days, Danielle, for a honey bun and a cup of rum. What's the deal with this honey bun? People bring that up a lot. Is that a prison thing? Thanks Lisa Murphy, K-Me. Now stop the clock, fatal distraction, and death of a child. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think people should check those out. Oh, look at that. Somebody's going to throw some dynamite at it.
Chewbacca?
I think we got enough to get right outside the gate. Is there going to be any cab ride home and maybe a hotel out and some steak? Oh, look at that. Bama Forever did the bail money. I only have so much time to listen. Oh, you got to take off? All right, I'm going to get on to the next story here in a second.
For a honey bun and a cup of ramen soup.
Don't always agree with you, Gray, but this time I'll give you some bail money. Okay. Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I hope that you guys agree that they're just, every one of them's different, and you got to look at the circumstances. But there is, it's kind of even weird in the one that we're looking at here. There's no malice and there's no intent or anything like that, but their negligence led to the death. And that's a direct correlation to negligence because there was drugs being used. In other cases, there isn't any negligence because you're not really, it's not reasonable. I don't know, it's hard to explain it to you. Just a second.
Support for an extra bowl of beans while you're wasting away in jail.
That's my wife there. She has a couple kids, and they're my stepkids. They're awesome. Support for an extra bowl of beans while you're wasting away. Well, thanks for the extra bowl of beans, everybody. Yeah. So I think we can all. Don't you agree? Everybody I bet agrees that there's different levels. If you want to think it's all neglect, then there's different levels of it, right? And so I think that's. I just don't want it to. If there's ever a point where somebody's using it to pretend that it was hot car death, those people should get, the death penalty or something. I mean, that's just horrendous. But oh yeah, I got distracted. I remembered the tea when I smelled it burning. Yeah, there you go, oddball. But the argument back, they'll say, it's just so lame. But they'll say, but tea isn't a baby. That's not what they're saying when they say that. What they're trying to tell you is it's the same mechanism, not that baby isn't tea. Okay? Everybody knows baby isn't tea. Okay? I think everybody knows that. So, in this case, though, I think it's bad, worse, because you've got parents that really, I mean, I'm not sure what you're doing out at 2 in the morning with a little infant and a couple other kids, and then you come home and you're doing, obviously you had drunk and smoked pot, and that part right there it's negligent because that behavior is likely what led to you not remembering. Okay, but not remembering naturally is a whole different ballgame, because how you can't force yourself when your mind starts thinking about something. Sometimes there's no trigger to bring you back. And that's really what it comes. Hey, thanks, Tracy Harrison. And when you see this, you'll see that there's no, a trigger is a. And people say, well, why do you need a trigger? It's your kid. You should be thinking about your kid. Yeah. I don't know. Have you ever watched, let me ask you this. When you have kids, have you ever been able to watch an entire movie and, you didn't sit there and keep wondering what your kids are doing? Every second. I mean, as they got older, they're 3 or 4, I've had them for a while. Can you ever just watch a movie and enjoy the movie, or is it just the whole time you're just... man, a lot of people are getting blocked. Hey, thanks, Sammy Dingus. You'll be watching without a voice. It's awesome. All right, hey, thanks, Junipers. Tarot and Magic. Yeah, can't say that out loud or too loud. My cat is the one who let me know the bathtub was overflowing. Who knows? Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, so now we're going to move on to Rudy Farias. Going back in time here. Here we go. So this is an actual post by Texas EquiSearch on, you can't see it, so I'm going to move over to this screen. Yeah. And here's the thing is I don't really care that much if you just totally disagree, but it's the way people disagree. It's almost like disdain for, if you don't think it's just a heinous killing of like a psycho murderer almost. You know, it's weird. So that's the thing. Okay, here we go. So in here it says, I mean, you guys are all aware of this case now, right? The search for Rudy Farias continued today. Searchers had to deal with some rain-soaked fields and roads, 2 trucks, even had to be pulled out of a backhoe. So thank you all for the searchers for the commitment you've shown during this case. This is Texas EquiSearch on March 7, 2015. Texas EquiSearch is temporarily suspending this search until further information comes available. The original post was 17-year-old Rudolph Rudy Farias IV was last seen near Tidwell and Park Drive around 6:30 p.m. on March 6, 2015. He was wearing blue jeans, black t-shirt, gray cotton gloves, and brown shoes. At the time Rudy went missing, he was walking his 2 dogs. The dogs have been found, but Rudy is still missing. Rudy has an injured right leg and walks with a slight limp. Rudy suffers from depression, PTSD, and anxiety. He has I wonder who's saying those things, though. You know, how do we know this? Is this what the mom's saying back then? You know, now, because now we know there's a little bit more to this, but now you wonder why are they saying this in the articles? Is it because the mom said that? Rudy suffers from depression, PTSD, and anxiety. He has attempted suicide. What's the PTSD from? In the past, it's possible he is disoriented and he has not been taking his medication. Rudy is also asthmatic, but is not in possession of his inhaler. According to his mother, he is very wary of strangers. If you have seen Rudy or have information about his disappearance, please call the Houston Police Missing Person Department. And that was just the post back then. Then on the 10th of March 2015, this is also on Texas EquiSearch. I think you start down here though. It says the search for Rudy Farias will start up again tomorrow. On 3:10, Rudy suffers from depression, PTSD. 3:10, we are temporarily suspending the search. 3:12, Texas EquiSearch continue the search for Rudy Farias based upon new information. The search will continue tomorrow. Texas EquiSearch is temporarily suspending this search until further information comes available. Yeah, and then so up here it says the search for Rudy is over. Rudy's been found safe and long. This is on 7/1, so you know somebody sent me this almost the same day. You know, at first it just seemed like, oh wow, that's kind of weird. 8 years. Rudy has been found safe and law enforcement is conducting an investigation into his reported disappearance. And this is they did continue up on 3/13/2015 also. I'm just going back in time here. So this is April 13th, 2015 on NBC News even. The last time Rudolph Rudy Farias' mother saw her son was when he went to take his 2 dogs on a walk on March 6, 2015, near his home in Houston, Texas. And by the way, let me I forgot to. So thank you up there to WNC Granny, Simple Life Days, Danielle, Lisa Murphy, K-Me, Bama Forever, Mag, and also Jenny Surfer. Thank you guys for getting me the hell out of prison. A prison that I should have never been in. Yeah. He just had so much thrown at him for the past few years. Brenda Paradise, a private investigator working for the Farias family, told Dateline. Officials say the 18-year-old... See, now just kind of listen to what's being said, and then later on you might be able to think back to what we're... what we're talking about. What happens later, it might ring a bell or something like that. What's going on with the spamming in chat here? It's weird. Yeah. Hey, listen, everybody. I'll just say it right now. Everybody in here is absolutely welcome to watch it for free. But if you want to help support my channel so that there's something to watch, then thank you. Okay, because this is a monetized YouTube channel, right? I mean, it's weird that this person keeps typing in the same damn thing over and over and over again. Thank you, the spiritual genie. He watched his best friend die right... Okay, so it says, according to family members, Rudy has been suffering from depression for months. Several years ago, he lost his older brother to a motorcycle accident. Paradise says both Rudy and his mother were 2 of the first people on the scene the day of the accident. He watched his best friend die right in front of him. His brother was his best friend in the world. He'd just gone through so much more than anyone his age ever should. Detectives are openly investigating but say they do not suspect foul play at this time. Right now, it's just classified as a missing person case, and we have an officer assigned to the case who is tracking down all the leads brought to us. Regardless of what may have happened, Paradise says all Rudy's mother wants is answers and closure. This family has been through so much. Whatever happened to Mom needs answers about her son. Rudy is described as 5'8", weighing 215 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information about Rudy, please contact the Houston Police Department. That was back then. So then we move forward to, there really kind of wasn't a ton of articles over the years. And this is originally on the 3rd of this month, but updated on the 6th. Now let me open up this is the flyer that was originally put out there. So it says 17-year-old Rudolph Rudy Farias, 14, was last seen near Tidwell and Park. So when they say Tidwell and Park, let me get to the, I have it in here. Way on a different, way up there. Hold on. Got quiet. Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering if this is it right here, because this says Brock Park Drive. There isn't really a Park Drive, and then this is Tidwell, so I think it's right here where they're referring to. So he was just seen right here at the entrance going into there. More than 8 years later, okay, so it says he went missing. Well, actually, I was reading through this, right? Hold on. At the time Rudy went missing, he was walking his 2 dogs. The 2 dogs have been found, but Rudy is still missing. Rudy has an injured right leg and walks with a slight limp. Rudy suffers from depression, PTSD, and anxiety. He has attempted suicide in the past. Oh God, I'm sorry. Unaliving. He attempted unaliving. I'm just kidding. It is possible he is disoriented and he has not been taking his medication. Rudy is also asthmatic, but is not in possession of his inhaler. According to his mother, he is very wary around strangers. If you have seen Rudy or have information about him missing, please call the Houston Police Missing Persons. All right, so that was the original flyer there. And then Rudolph, this is on the 3rd, went missing in North Houston in March of 2015. He was 17 years old. More than 8 years later, on June 29th, a Good Samaritan found Farias in front of a Houston church about 25 minutes away from where he was last seen. Farias' family said he was not talking and had cuts and bruises on his body when he was found. Rudy's family is excited, said Melissa Rangel with Texas Center of Missing. They are over the moon, but they are also worried Rudy is not doing well. Hey, thank you so much, Shelly Pink. A week later, Houston police announced that Farias had not been missing for 8 years after all. So this is what the police have said. They said he came home the day after he was reported missing in 2015. Isn't that crazy? So he did run away back then, but he came home a day later. So you know what it almost feels like? Like it's, like Munchausen by proxy or something. Like the mother loved the attention she got when he was missing. And then when he came home, he rained on her parade. How dare you, right? The district attorney's office declined to press charges against Santana, but HPD said the investigation will continue. So that's Janie Santana. And I have the house is right. This is the house back here. There's street view and everything. That house. So interestingly, like this picture is February 2020. He is in that building right now as we're looking at it. Like he's sitting in there somewhere inside that house, probably. Although maybe not. You know when I heard that like she did this work and she would take him with her and he would do all the work. Like basically, oh man, it's just. We'll have to we have a press conference to go over. His mother said Farias suffered from anxiety. HPD later said that they went to the home multiple times. So here's the thing. Houston Police Department said they went to the home multiple times while investigating his disappearance and spoke with family, friends, and neighbors. Volunteers with Texas EquiSearch also searched for Farias. March 8, 2015, see, that says we know. Okay, that's going back in time. Let's see. March 8, 2015, we now know that Farias returned to his home the day after he disappeared. Farias was, in 2017, was one of the cases included in the KHOU 11 special, Bring Them Home. We interviewed his mother, who continued to claim that her son vanished and was still missing more than 2 years later. Janie Santana said then that detectives warned family members that her son may have been abducted and sold into human trafficking. He has such a huge heart. He loves with all his heart, Santana told us. It's just a nightmare that you want to wake up from. September in 2018, Houston police said they got a call from family members telling them that Farias was living behind a family member's home. Police searched but didn't find him. Dates unknown. HPD, so that was probably a true lead. said patrol officers had interactions with Farias through the years, but they didn't realize he was the missing teen because he gave them fake names. They didn't give specifics about what those encounters were and when they occurred. June 29, 2023, at about 10 p.m., police said a man who would later be identified as Farias was found outside Immaculate Heart Church. Let's see where that is. I guess is that it right there? Yep. Yeah, this is where he was found. Right, she should. Hell, well, this is before we started giving them money, but I was thinking, man, we started giving them money, I think, in 2019. Be shitty to have to use it on that. So that's about probably 10-mile drive or so. July 3rd, the family released the following statement. We want to thank the media and the public for all the support. My son, Rudy Farias IV, was found on Thursday, June 29th. After being missing for 8 years, currently we do not have any additional information on Rudy's case. What we do have is at the time of the recovery, a Good Samaritan located him unresponsive and immediately called police and 911. My son Rudy is receiving the care he needs to overcome his trauma. But at this time, he is nonverbal. So I think this nonverbal thing is she made him say that he's nonverbal. Or not say, because you can't, if you're nonverbal, you can't say that. But he said she probably threatened him to not say anything. And he's not able to communicate with us. We are asking for privacy during this difficult time, but we'll share more details as Rudy continues to heal. Santana said her son was in the hospital and released a photo of him in a hospital bed. Her sisters later said the photo was actually from 2012. July 5th, 2023, HBD met with Farias and Santana in a hotel. Houston community activist Quinell X told the media that he spoke with Farias alone. He said the now 25-year-old man told him his mother forced him to go along with the charade and told him to go to prison if he didn't. Quinell X said Farias told him and the investigators that his mom had been drugging and sexually abusing him. Really? Told him he'd go to prison if he didn't. Quinell X also said Farias told him and the investigator that his mom had been drugging and sexually abusing him. Jesus. That's what Quinell X said, anyways. Yeah, that's what I mean. So he spoke to Quinell X. So I think she told him that he couldn't, like, you better not say anything. Tell them that you're, you can't, well, you can't tell them anything. You just don't respond, so they'll think you can't communicate. You can't say, hey, everybody, I can't communicate. Santana agreed to speak with KHOU News on Wednesday to give her side of the story, but never showed up. This comes after new allegations were made by Quinell X, which police have not confirmed. Later Wednesday, we found Santana, but she sped away from our cameras. Thank you, American lady. That night, Farias' aunt... Oh, yeah. Reading fee and gold wave. We're almost there. We're almost there. That night, Farias' aunt said she hadn't seen him since the day he went missing. Sylvia Lopez said she even traveled out of state. I wonder if there's some of that's in here.
After 8 years, the church details. We're told that a Good Samaritan spotted him here outside this church, called 911. When police showed up, they found something on Rudy that identified a family member, and that's how they were able to get family out here to obviously positively identify Rudy. And when they did,
Say you.
Oh, there he is.
Say you.
2015.
And thank God he's alive.
Tim Miller.
This is one of them miracles that you
He looks good,
don't
man.
experience very often.
He was last seen near his home.
He's looking
Just
good.
last week, he was found here outside this church. Tim Miller was one of the dozens of people that have been looking for Rudy from the get-go.
We started out at his house where he disappeared from, where he was walking his dogs, and I'll never forget finding his backpack out in this empty lot, field and stuff.
And Houston police tell us they did get a call from family members in September of 2018. They had spotted Rudy living behind a family member's home, but HPD did not find him, and they could not provide the address for us. But after 8 years, a miracle. A good...
Wow, thank you guys. American Lady, Simple Life Days, and Bama Forever. Thank you. Appreciate it. Very generous of you guys.
Samaritan found him unresponsive outside this...
Very well. Oh, I was going to put it in front of me. There we go. Now it would be.
Ocean wave, ocean wave, ocean wave.
Oh, I'm going to have a new soundbite pretty soon from Johnny Depp. That's going to be a good one. I preferred... What did he say? Oh, it's pretty funny. I preferred pot. It was my drug of choice. I think that'd be good when these crazy people show up in here. Thanks, Tracy and Kathy Chapin.
Church. Neighbors say they saw when police showed up to the scene.
There was a person, they were trying to wake him up. HPD couldn't wake him up, like he was completely out of it.
But police confirmed it was Rudy. In a statement, Rudy's mom said her son is now receiving the care he needs to overcome his trauma.
Doing well.
In pictures released by the family, you could see Rudy has cuts and bruises on his body. As you can imagine, the family is waiting.
Here we go. For those who hated my opinion. Thanks, Kathy Freidenmaker.
I'll continue with the wave.
Waiting for Rudy to heal. Now, investigators do tell us they will be speaking with Rudy and his family on Wednesday.
So let's just go right into the press conference. All right. Here we go.
Chewbacca?
And I made it look. It looks good, man. I made it look good. Look at this. Hold on. Gotta get the.
Detective Sergeant Jimenez, Detective Brian Ford, and Detective Atlanta Claiborne. Today we're discussing facts related to 25-year-old Rudy Farias, who was reported missing on March 7th.
Oh, it's pretty quiet. Let me. I can boost this up for you guys. Let me see. It only looks like it's at
2015.
25 decibels. That's crazy because I boosted it way up. So anyways, I'm going to have to switch over here and you'll be able to hear it, but I'm going to be really loud. So after this is over, make sure to remind me.
He was 17 years old when his mother reported him missing. During the 8-year time frame where he was missing, investigators followed up on many tips, leads, collected evidence proving that Rudy was not missing during the 8-year period. Many of these facts included contacts and statements with relatives, friends, neighbors, and medical professionals. Rudy was recently identified as having previous HPD interactions, meaning that he made contact with patrol officers out on the street. However, during these contacts, fictitious names and date of births were given, misleading the officers, and Rudy would remain missing. In fact, both Janie, Rudy's mother, and Rudy himself gave fictitious names while interacting with various patrol officers. After investigators talked with him yesterday, it was discovered that Rudy returned home the following day on March 8th, 2015. The mother, Janie, continued to deceive police by remaining adamant that Rudy was still missing. She alleged her nephew was the person friends and family were seeing coming and going. However, we disputed that. Currently, the DA has declined any charges at this time for making fictitious reports and failure to ID. Investigators have reached out to Adult Protective Services. HPD Victim Services has reached out. We've also connected Rudy with Victim Services to ensure that he has a method to recover. Now, based on Rudy's interview, there were no reports of sexual abuse reported. If there is a disclosure made, we will continue to investigate. Currently, the investigation is active, and there are new leads coming in. We'll continue to follow those leads. We do take all allegations seriously, and any new information or facts that we receive will be investigated.
Thank you, Lieutenant. One question at a time, please.
Hold
Do
on.
not yell them out.
I'm gonna let him translate, then we're gonna do it.
Okay,
Thank you.
That Rudy was still missing. She alleged her nephew was the person friends and family were seen coming and going. However, we disputed that. Currently, the DA has declined any charges at this time for making fictitious reports and failure to ID. Investigators have reached out to Adult Protective Services. HPD Victim Services has reached out. We've also connected Rudy with Victim Services to ensure that he has a method to recover. Now, based on Rudy's interview, there were no reports of sexual abuse reported. If there is a disclosure made, we will continue to investigate. Currently, the investigation is active, and there are new leads coming in. We'll continue to follow those leads. We do take all allegations seriously, and any new information or facts that we receive will be investigated.
Thank you, Lieutenant. One question at a time, please.
Hold
Do
on.
not yell them out.
I'm gonna let him translate, then we're gonna do it.
Okay,
Thank you. Go ahead. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Buenos días y gracias a todos por estar aquí. Antes de hablar sobre el caso involucrado.
Well, here's the thing. The reason they might not do charges against false reporting, although it's kind of weird, is that it was true that he ran away, but then he came home the next day. So I bet the charges will be something else, not the original. I mean, I guess, does it count that you didn't later come forward and say, hey, he's actually been here? Because they kind of were searching for a long time after you knew that he wasn't missing. So is that still, is that considered false reporting? Or you could say, well, I didn't report it anymore. I already made the report and it was true that he was missing.
Involucrando a la persona desaparecida Rudy
Failure to
Farias.
update should be a,
Vamos a hablar un poquito.
Shouldn't that be something? Failure to update? Okay, I'm going to skip past that.
That he was
I'm
in
out
the
of that.
room with a detective and he heard from Rudy firsthand. He said that there were sexual abuse allegations and that he was drugged by his mother. From what you just said today, are you saying that the activist was lying?
Basically, what we're saying is our investigation is.
No, it hasn't been debunked because, I mean, her family's saying that's not true, but how do we know it's not true? If he told that to that activist, then how do we know that what the kid said wasn't true? Wouldn't you put more truth in what he said?
Our investigation, and we treat it the same. We're gonna, our investigators were in the room, and basically, what they heard and what they interviewed, that's what we attest to in our offense reports and our investigations. And I'm not here, neither are they here to question anybody's integrity, but our integrity with the Houston Police Department stands, and we're gonna report and put in offense reports what a victim or potential victim tells us. Okay.
But just to be clear, in that room, the detective did not hear anything about sexual abuse allegations.
Go ahead.
Can you just clear that up?
Yeah, Sergeant Stephen Menez. Yes, I interviewed him, and no, there was no. I'm trained to listen for probable cause. I'm trained to listen for statements that can help me get charges or move forward with a case. And no, there was no statements made during this investigation so far. No.
Thank you. Next question. Go ahead, Maria.
Can that be answering?
Wait a minute. Go ahead. Good. We get it. Yeah. Go ahead.
That is correct, coming from Rudy Farias.
Was there any conversation?
There was no statements made during this investigation so far. No.
Thank you. Next question. Go ahead, Maria.
Can that be answering?
Wait a minute. Go ahead. Good. We get it. Yeah. Go ahead.
That is correct, coming from Rudy Farias.
Was there any conversations about sexual...
Oh, okay, that came... Wait, hold on.
So we don't release any type of...
Wait, what did that first question? What was that?
Is that correct?
This might be debunked here. Hold on a second.
There was no statements made during this investigation so far, no.
Thank you. Next question. Go ahead, Mario.
Can that be answered?
Wait a minute. Go ahead. Good. We get it. Yeah. Go ahead.
That is correct, coming from Rudy Farias.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so what he said was, I heard that there's no reports that came forward of sexual, like abuse. And he said, yeah, that's correct. We didn't get any coming from Rudy Farias. Okay, does that mean that it didn't happen, or it just means during that time it didn't come in? I don't know.
Was there any conversations about a sexual relationship between mother and son?
Was there any conversations about sexual, I don't know what the word was after that, activity between between mother and son?
So we don't release any type of information related to sexual assaults. That's just state law.
Okay.
I can't comment on that.
Go ahead.
Is Rudy a victim then in all of this, or did he...
Well, I actually sped this up only 8%, but man, that guy's pretty quick. In the Johnny Depp trial we're doing, I sped him up 25%. Taking something that was 3.5 hours, making it 2.5, and he still sounds slow. It's pretty crazy.
Did he and his mother work together? I mean, he wasn't missing
The investigation is still going on, Courtney, and I'm not going to say that he's a victim or not. I'm thinking, and saying we're going to treat this just as we do with any potential victim or victim, and we're going to give respect to everybody that's involved. We're going to conduct our investigation, and we're kind of right at the beginning of it. This investigation is going to go on after this press conference.
What's next? Could we see any
Sorry.
charges?
If charges are appropriate, they'll see. But let us conduct the investigation. And what's next, Courtney? Just as any other investigation, we're going to follow our evidence. We're going to do more interviews, and we're going to follow.
There has to be something really bad that the mother was doing here. She didn't tell anybody that he was at home, and he's needing hospital care. I mean, how does that just happen?
The evidence, and I think that's important. Go ahead.
Chief, can you say, were there any signs of mental illness, that he might be mentally ill, that his mother might be mentally ill?
We're not going to say that right now. Anyway, we're going to conduct the investigation. It's really too early to determine that. There are going to be some more parts to the investigations, and some of that may come into play. But right now, no.
So just because there were some other allegations that he had been held prisoner, that he had been taken to Mexico, is there any indication that that was true, or was that allegedly?
Lieutenant.
Because that would have been kidnapping, right, or holding somebody against their will?
We don't have any information to say that there was any kind of kidnapping or anything like that right now.
Okay.
Have any search warrants being served at the house?
I think so. No search warrants. Right?
No, at the time he was reported missing 8 years ago, being missing is not a crime. So the detectives had no lawful means or probable cause to issue a search warrant for the residence, which was searched several times.
We're going to work our way down, and we'll get back to you. Go ahead. Yes.
On the dash cams, what is the timeline for installation for the new one?
There's no permanent timeline. As you can imagine, there's a cost to it.
Oh, yeah, so there's going to be dash cam videos when police talk to him throughout the years, but he called himself somebody else. Man, that'll be pretty interesting, don't you think?
And there's some complications. And give you one just quick thing, the challenge. 200 of our vehicles are model 2014 are older. That's a challenge. I'm not, when we're up against a financial budget like we are, you got to pick and choose, and you got to prioritize some things. So, but as quickly as funding comes in, we're going to work to get in all of our patrol vehicles and those vehicles that come into contact with the public with dash cams. But I want people to realize one thing: 100% of our officers that's out there on the streets have body-worn cameras on, 100%. And we know for a fact that if you would choose dash cams, I'd love to have both systems, okay, 100%. But once you get out that car, where most things happen in interaction, hand to hand, I want that body-worn camera. But as we get funding in, and as I said, the mayor is stepping up, and like he always does. But he can only do so much. This funding issue didn't start. And I'm going to say this, I stay away from politics, okay? But the citizens in Houston, at some point in time, we're going to have to really face how we're going to properly fund public safety and public servants, okay? Because you need better fire trucks, you need better equipment.
No. We got to defund the police. You've heard it all the wacko hard lefties out there talking about, oh, we got to, I mean, look at, I'm not talking about you, okay? If you're a Democrat or a left-wing person, I'm talking about the wackos who thought defunding the police was a good idea, all right? We need more money in law enforcement, everybody. If you don't have you can't have a civil society without law enforcement. Isn't that sad? But that's the reality. And law enforcement has been degraded and depleted, and who the hell would want to work for them? It's ridiculous. They made it a place where you wouldn't even want to go to work. Right? They should be respected, and everybody, we should feel grateful that there are police officers out there. I am. Yeah. They're always the ones that are so happy that a police shows up when their store gets robbed. But they were the first one out there saying, defund the police. Yeah, give me a break.
We can't keep kicking that can down the street. We're going to have to talk about things of a revenue cap. But we'll leave it to the politicians. Next question. Go ahead.
So I heard you mention that there was no need for a search warrant in between yesterday and the day that he was discovered. Was anything searched? Was anybody questioned? Anybody about the house?
Rudy and his mother were interviewed yesterday. As far as anyone going to the house, it's still active investigation. We can't release details pertaining to that.
Also, quick clarity, was he 17 at the time that he was missing?
Yes, sir, that's
Yes.
correct.
So he's 25.
He's 25 now. Yeah. Go ahead, Mario. I'll get you all. Hold up. Go ahead.
Was there a missing persons report filed by his mother at the very beginning?
That was in March 7th, 2015.
So there was a missing persons report that was filed.
Correct.
And so this is what I'm asking about this. Could the mother be detained for filing a missing persons report and never once informing HPD that he came home?
Yes, she could be reported or detained. That offense is a Class C misdemeanor, which is similar to a traffic citation.
Right.
Grady
Go ahead.
Farias was found on Thursday. Your investigators spoke to him nearly a week later. Do you think it was a mistake not to speak to him sooner? You said yourself the DA has not accepted charges. That's a week where evidence could be destroyed. What's your response to that?
So it's procedure for the investigation to go through a channel, and when it reaches us, we review it. There was no urgency to investigate a recovered or found person, and I say that because patrol officers made contact with him. They ensured that he was safe. They contacted HFD to make sure that he didn't need medical treatment, and he was cleared on scene by HFD. He refused transportation to the hospital. His mother took him to the hospital later on that evening.
What the lieutenant said, I think, is important. You can't force a potential victim of a missing person, okay, with nothing else, to come in and give a statement. So it takes time to try to work with people to get that statement.
I know you believe in transparency, and I just, for the public, we're going to put this on the news, and it's going to cause more questions, because yesterday we hear from the activist who makes these shocking allegations, and as a reporter who was there, I did see him myself go in and out of the room, so it was clear to get some sort of communication.
Transparency doesn't come in front and maintaining the integrity of the investigation, and that's where my transparency stops. But and I'm gonna. This is the last question I'm gonna ask about the activists or anybody else. You know, we're gonna follow our investigation, and we treat it the same. Everybody has a role in society, and we respect everybody, including our activists. But the integrity of the investigation is number one, and we're gonna maintain that. Okay?
Going inside that room, that jeopardized the investigation by allowing.
I don't think so. Go ahead. Anybody?
You know, where's
Yes, we do. Rudy is safe. He is with his mother by choice.
And he's an adult.
Yeah.
He's a 25-year-old man.
Right. Hey, we're going to get a few more. Mario right here, and then we're going to work our way down. Probably 4 more, and we're going to wrap.
You used the word a minute ago describing Rudy as a victim. We know that he
I said potential victim, and I want to be respectful on that. Yeah.
He disappeared when he was a young man.
17.
17 years old. There's been cases in the past where people have been brainwashed, where people have been told, not, and they're being held against their will. For everyone that's going to be watching this worldwide, because this is a worldwide story, how do you not separate him until you guys are able to get everything together, considering that he disappeared as a child?
Mario, you've been in the business for a long time, and I'm gonna let you answer that. Okay, we've explained everything, some of the challenges and whatnot. Here's a fact: he's a grown man. 20. Listen to what I'm saying. If you want me to answer, no, he was an adult, 17. Hold up, okay? Not confrontational. You know, I respect what everybody does, okay? But 17 years old, that's an adult, and
oh, that's pretty interesting to think about it like that. You know? Like, what was he doing the rest of those years? I don't know, man. I think the mother, like, controlled him, where he didn't know that he had options or something, you know?
in the state of Texas, okay? A lot of things that we shared up here. So we're going to work our way through it. It takes a little while. There's a lot of development still, even last night, okay? We know that. Everything's coming up. We're going to investigate it. The integrity is going to stay in place. We're going to treat him the same as any other person that comes.
It's just an interesting argument. But, yeah, I mean, you know, if you reversed it around and a father... Well, I mean, if she ran away and she stayed at home hidden and there was allegations of abuse, people would believe it. Yeah.
Through that we're conducting an investigation on. I'm done with that part. Go ahead, Courtney.
This might be a better question.
Go ahead. Okay? Anybody?
What's the reason then? What can you tell us about why Rudy and his mother then allegedly lied for 8 years and said he was missing when he clearly wasn't?
I can answer that, though. I mean, to protect. We can't predict motivation or whatnot. We could just try to, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but why?
But you know, during the interview and the particulars of it, it's active investigation. We respect that, but can't. Yeah. Next question. Yeah.
This guy isn't, you know, he's not like Grady Judd who tells you the whole story.
We wasn't just doing.
I mean, don't you just love, you guys admit, like, don't you love how Grady Judd is? I mean, he just comes out there, he tells you the whole story, but he does leave out just the really crucial, like, I mean, he leaves out something that needs to be preserved, but he tells you everything else. That's how it should be, just like that.
8 years total investigation, okay? So it went dormant for a little bit, but the case was still open, okay? And I want to say this, until we find people,
I don't think he should be his running mate, but I think Grady Judd should be an attorney general of the United States and let his philosophy permeate through all the states. That's how I would wish.
We clear it. That's when it should be cleared. But if your question is, we expended some resources. Absolutely. Yes. No, you're prioritizing, okay? We're in a budget that there are challenges, okay? And what I've presented, and we'll side note this, okay, because it takes a little while to explain it. When you have challenges, people.
Why did the father kill himself? I didn't read that in any of the articles.
Look at a $1 billion budget, okay? And everybody just, oh my God, HPD has a lot of money.
Oh, so, you know what's weird is you can find the... like in newspapers.com, there are, like Rudy Farias, he's the fourth. I found the third when he got married in 1986 to somebody, but it's not the same mom. So I don't know how that all played out. But
92% of that goes to salary and benefits, so it's not a whole lot of money. We have to pay our people, and we have to be competitive. The mayor just gave $7.2 million so we can get more cadets in. So there are a lot of challenges. And what I'm saying is this didn't happen just in the mayor's administration. For years, you need so much amount, 14 million. I always talk about that to properly.
Yeah. Where is that though, Cindy?
Replace vehicles in our
and also what relevance does it have? To be honest with you,
in our fleet. But some years when things are just, you got a lot of stuff going on. Okay, when you don't get that, it kicks it back and it makes it worse. We have an aging fleet. 50% of our vehicles, or a little bit more, are beyond the replacement life, and that's patrol vehicles, 100,000 miles, 5 years. Unmarked vehicles, 120,000 miles.
Yeah, I didn't look into the DAD because it's not part of the story, so I don't know about it. I'm just wondering,
years. Okay, so we have a very aging fleet and a lot of other problems. So we will prioritize, and we're going to get there where we need to. But I'll sidestep. Go ahead. Yes. No. No, we're not going to say anything. Let me get you, and then I'm going to get you. You're going to be the last one. Go ahead.
So I know that why were HPD officers at the home this morning, and also I know family members are concerned for Rudy's safety. Is there no concerns as far as the investigation?
You guys want to talk about that call for service?
We can. It's a call for service. Yeah. There was a burglary.
Yeah, but it's not relevant to the case.
Patrol
WNC
responded, and we were alerted because
that's just an excuse the mom made.
It's been part of the investigation, and that is also now part of our investigation. What happened last night? And it's still going.
Thank you.
Press conference that Rudy has made contact with patrol units at some point. Can you explain what that was, and does he face any charges for saying that?
What was he saying? I'm sitting there arguing with people in the chat about crap. So what was the fiscal part that he brought up?
So it is a criminal offense to give false names when you're detained under arrest or you're making a valid police report. There was an instance where he did that, him and his mother. At this time, though, the district attorney has declined to accept charges on that until our entire investigation has been complete.
So you tried to charge him as well?
It was, the facts were presented to the district attorney.
Mario, we're going to end it, okay? Go ahead.
Can you say what that contact was quickly, though, with him? You said patrol units. Was it like he stopped in his car? Can you just...
I was going to ask specifically, did HPD ever do a 2 years ago HFD, I'm sorry, excuse me. Investigators did go out to the home multiple times. They talked to various family members, relatives, friends, neighbors, and yes, they were given a fictitious name.
Let me close with this one thing, okay? Let me close with this, Mario. Look, we've been open as we can. It's not our first investigation, and everybody here understands what I'm saying about the integrity.
Okay, this guy doesn't really have a pleasant attitude, really.
For the investigation.
Some might even say he's like me.
This is where we're going to end. We wanted to get up before a lot because this has come as not only a local, but a national, in some cases international, okay, because of everything that's going on. But it ends today, not our investigation, but as we get more information and when it's appropriate, we'll send out information, okay? So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you for your patience, and thank y'all for what you do every day. Yeah, yeah. That's it. All right, thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
It's not our first rodeo, as it were. Yeah. Oh yeah, a ball of sunshine. Yeah. Yeah, you got it. You know that. What time is it? 1:59. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I mean, we don't know yet exactly. There'll probably be some charges coming up. If it is true that because her husband worked in the police department, but wouldn't he be a disgraced police officer? So why would they give her special treatment for having a disgraced police department member, husband? That doesn't make any sense. What the hell's the map of? Whatever the hell I want it to be. It's the city. He was found right there, you moron. Can you not read? It's right there. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, I think she'll be charged for something. Yeah. Did you hear, Gray? Yeah, well, why don't you read the what What the hell is this? Hey, we got to use that emoji. Where is that one? There we go. So any thoughts here, you guys? Any thoughts? I really don't have any idea. I think that, I mean, the idea that I have is that the mother, he came home and she liked the attention she was getting, so then threatened to kick him out permanently or something, and then it just escalated, kept escalating and escalating and escalating, and eventually he just kind of was controlled mentally to do things and had no control over what he was going to do. But well, let's just wait until the investigation happens and there's a report. But like the guy said, I mean, it is interesting that he was, I don't know if in Texas you're an adult at 17. So does it mean that he can kind of do what he wants to do and it's his choice? He wasn't really missing, so he was just choosing to be doing that? So it's sort of an interesting angle that the chief seemed to want to throw out there. Well, he is now, but I mean, he made it sound like 17 was an adult. Let's see. I think it might be. Let's see.
For the troll fund.
No, it's 18 in Texas, so. Is 17 the legal age in Texas? Are you grown at... It says age 17 in Texas, as in most states. You become an adult at age 18. So, if he was 17, then what the looks like the police chief there, he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. Yeah, well, that's what the activist said, that he was told by Rudy that he was sexually abused by his mother. Instructed they are playing some games. Yeah, how do we know if he's on the spectrum or not? Well, I'm just more I'll just kind of wait for a report. I'm not going to just sit there and wildly speculate, like talking about the dad and all that. Like, that just doesn't mean anything. You know? I just want to know what happened in their situation. Yeah, I saw some of what the aunt was saying. Yeah, if you can find it really quickly, I'll do it, but I want to move on to something else. She didn't say anything about him returning. There was resources used looking for him. Yeah, it's got to be some charge of some sort here. Just seems like it's fraud, right? I mean, you know, she's out there, people are looking for her son, and she knows exactly where her son is. People wasting valuable resources. So there's something there. I mean, did she benefit in some monetary way at first and then continued it on later by other means? I don't know. There wasn't enough details, to be honest, to come up with a theory here. Don't you guys agree with that? We don't have enough factual. All we really know is that after 8 years he shows up. He was staying at his mom's house. Somebody claimed abuse, and that's it. I mean, we really have nothing here. There's no really good information. Maybe the aunt says some stuff, but I mean, I saw her on one interview already. They were happy. What do you mean, him having positive ID in his pocket? What? And he was using his mother's credit card, too, sort of recently. Like one that she had just opened a couple of years ago. I read that earlier. Ding 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 ding. Tonight's been crazy with the spamming, you guys. Hasn't it been amazing? Spam, spam, spam. So can we do a cold case next? I don't really have much more to say, do you guys? Yeah, that's what I said earlier, Ada. You must have missed it. Let's see. Hankey's just waiting. Now the charge, it isn't fraud, the original report that her child was missing. Apparently he did run away. And then when he came home, that's when things went in a different direction. But doesn't it sort of have a feel of like Munchausen shit? Like she loved the attention that she was getting with the missing child, so kept it going, and then sort of hid him from general public and then had him do other things on the side. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Sort of feels like that. Yeah, by proxy, right? Munchausen by proxy. Yeah, well, that's what I just said, yeah. Never thought of that angle. Well, that's what you get here, you guys. See, here's the thing. I don't watch other YouTube channels, so I don't know all the little... See, I don't do sometimes I look at other things, but I'm not going to look at things that aren't really, like, directly focused on what we're talking about. Because there's people that make a lot of content out of stuff like The Dad, right? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Right? It really is irrelevant to what's going on here. I heard relatives say today that Rudy was going to get money from an inheritance or something, so she probably pocketed that. Maybe. Was mom scamming for money or special gifts? Well, she's been in public already, so I don't know if she's hiding as of right now. Did she take off again, or? Hey, that's cool. where these people come from, man? Jesus. Money from his brother's life insurance. How do you know that, though? All right, WNC Granny sent me the interview from the aunt. Apparently, hopefully it just starts playing. I mean, look how crazy this. I already have this link here. That's her. Did she start talking at one point, or? Yeah, I don't see it, WNC Granny. Did she start speaking in here, we want to thank the media and public for all their support. My son, Rudy Farias, was found Thursday. She alleged her nephew was the person friends and family were seeing coming and going. Oh, wait, hold on. We want to thank... Okay, but police later revealed Farias had actually returned home on March 8, 2015. One day after was said to have gone missing. Despite this, his mother continued to deceive police by remaining adamant that Rudy was still missing. I wonder if it was because she wanted to receive all of the life insurance policy from everything. You know, maybe that's where the husband life insurance comes in. She didn't want there to be, like, let's say his insurance was supposed to give some to the son. But if he's missing, maybe she gets all of it. I don't know. Maybe she was going to try to declare him being dead pretty soon, but didn't do it. She alleged her nephew was the person friends and family were seeing coming and going. I mean, wouldn't people just go, wow, that's him, instead of, well, there was this guy, I wasn't sure. Farias also interacted with police over the course of 8 years, but both he and his mother gave fake names or dates of birth. Santana has not been charged in connection with her son's disappearance, nor has a reason for the mysterious cover-up been established. Speaking to the Post Thursday, Sanchez Rodriguez said her sister had always been manipulative. She's had different husbands, different names. She went on, at times fighting back tears. She's a very greedy person. I mean, that does make you wonder, though, if, like, you know, whatever happened to her husband, if back then, it has nothing to do with this part of the case, but maybe he was the one, she was behind him doing things at work, if it had something to do with getting extra money, and that's why he was going to be investigated, and then he killed himself. All right, but again, see how that you start moving off into some place that has no connection at all to what we're talking about. Farias lived a normal childhood until tragedy struck. First, when brother was died. What? In a 2011 motorcycle accident, when his father, a disgraced Houston police officer, took his own life in 2014. It was at that point she took control, Sanchez Rodriguez said of her sister. Hey, maybe they should go look and see what the circumstances were of her husband dying. Michelle Rodriguez, Santana's cousin, told the Post Farias was forced to do whatever his mother told him to do. His mother, this is what I was talking about earlier. I read this part about how she had him do her work or something. His mother has held him at home under false pretenses that if he reached out and looked for help, he was going to go to jail and something bad was going to happen to him. Although Farias was 17 years old and classed as an adult under Texas law, he still had the mind of a 10-year-old. She's always been after any way. She's always been after any way that she can get money. Anything that she has to do, she does it no matter who it hurts. And then she moves on to another one. Farias was found slumped outside the Immaculate Heart Mary Catholic Church on June 29, 2023, but the circumstances which led him there are unclear at this time. Farias and the family initially declined hospital treatment after a Houston Fire Department checked him over on scene, but Santana later transported him to the hospital. Police defended their decision to release Farias into his mother's care and for waiting 6 days before interviewing him. Really? How do you defend that? You can't force a potential victim to come in and give a statement. No, but you could bring him in and see if he wanted to say something. He declined to say whether he considered Farias a victim. Police interviewed Farias and Santana Wednesday, and she was allowed to leave the hospital with Farias following the interview. Houston-based activist Quinell X claimed Farias made horrifying allegations against his mother. See, I believe that because, I mean, honest to God, why? There's no motivation here for this activist to have said something like that. I think he did tell him something. I mean, whether what he was told was true or not, I don't know, but She would ask him to play daddy. She told him that he had to be the husband, according to Quinnell X, who said he was with police at the time of the hospital bedside interview. She was giving him drugs. She was punishing him by locking him in a room over and over. She convinced him that law enforcement wanted to put him in jail, that because he ran away, he was going to prison, the activist claimed. Quinnell X's account was disputed by Detective Sergeant Stephen Jimenez, who personally interviewed Farias and said there were no claims of sexual abuse from him. So, I mean, that's weird, right? Because why would he lie the other person? I mean, I know it's like, you know, you're an activist, so you want something sensationalistic, but that's a little bit overboard right there. I could see him not saying something to the police, though. You know, that's the thing. He may have been open to the activist, but just didn't want to speak to the cop. And when asked if Mother could have been charged for failing to notify police of her son's whereabouts, Zamora said she would have faced a Class C misdemeanor, which is similar to a traffic citation. The Harris County District Attorney's Office has declined to charge Santana pending further investigation. Rodriguez slammed the decision not to charge her cousin. Right now, Janie has the chance to get further away. She's fleeing. They're giving her a head start when all they had to do was bring her in. No search warrants have been executed on the home. Why not? Yeah. Why not look at the home, for God's sake? Anyways, there you go. Why wouldn't you go do a search warrant in there? That's ridiculous, you know? I just get the craziest emails and things. I have no idea what they're even about. Well, what's going on, everybody? You guys want to do that one? I might be able to sneak it in really quick. It's the Night of the Trolls. So many of them. And it's so quiet. I think cops are gonna regret this whole he's an adult thing. Yeah, I mean, he was 17, so he wasn't an adult when it started. But he is now, I guess. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to do this old one now. 1973, July 12th. Judith Cadorette, I think. Right? Here we go. Hey, thanks, WNC Granny, for sending that. So this is in Massachusetts again. Andover body is identified. So the body of a woman found last Friday strangled with a bra and dumped off of Route 93. So let's see if we can find where this is. Let's see. Tewksbury, MA. Okay, there's 93. Is that what this is then? Oh, that wasn't where I was going. So Tewksbury's over here. So probably right here. Right in this area. This is identified as Judith Miranda Cadorette. So it's a bra and dumped off of Route 93 at the Andover Tewksbury line, whatever that is. Oh, I don't know what that means. So anyway, this is, let's see. So Tewksbury is right there. I don't know if there's like a it's hard to say. You know, I mean, where's Andover then? That's Andover. So right at the line. There must be something like a county. Hey, maybe that, let's try that. Hold on a second. I can do that. No. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really come up with that. That's not a good enough description. So identification was made through dental records. The victim lived with her parents, Anthony L. and Alice M. Miranda, and two younger brothers, Frederick and Anthony Jr. The family moved to Rolling Meadows. Doesn't say. She's 19 years old. There you go. Rolling Meadow Road in Tewksbury. So let's see where that is. Rolling Meadows Road, Tewksbury. See, a lot of these might even be here anymore. So that's not even there either. Yeah, that's so old that it's just... Now, the victim lived with her parents, Anthony L. and Alice Miranda, and two younger brothers, divorced from Joseph Cadorette in April of 1972. So this is, let's see, I've lost my bearings here. Thanks, K-Me. Yeah, so she's July 2nd, 1973. So she was divorced. And sounds like she has kids. Let me go back up here. At the Andover Tewksbury line has been identified as Judith Miranda Cadorette, maybe, a 19-year-old Tewksbury woman. The victim lived with her parents, Anthony L. and Alice Miranda, and two younger brothers, Frederick and Anthony Jr. The family moved to Rolling Meadow Road in, so Rolling Meadow, let me try that one more time. Rolling Meadows Road. No, I already did, that was right. Okay. So there's Rolling Meadows Road way up here. But I don't know if that's near Tewksbury. Yeah, because it's way down here. So, don't know. Maybe it's called something else now. Thank you, 15 Lee. Divorced from Joseph Cadorette, or I'm not sure how to. What do you think you're supposed to say? Cadorette or Cadorette? Or in April 1972, after a 5-month marriage, the young woman planned to marry 24-year-old Gary B. Marcella of Methuen next month. So she was engaged after a really short marriage with somebody else and got divorced. So that ex-husband is right at the top of the list, wouldn't you think? Mrs. Cadorette was unemployed. Donald Howard because of very poor vision and was therefore classified as disabled. Donald Moores of Andover Police said she was a loner who kept mostly to herself and had few friends. She was a ham radio operator and met her fiance through radio conversations. Yeah, kind of a nerd, you know. Yeah, and then this one came, that was 1973, July 12th and the 16th. Police disclosed last night they have 2 suspects in the strangulation murder of a young Tewksbury divorcee whose partly decomposed body was found July 6th. Detective Donald Howard said also that police were aware of a car involved in the slaying of Mrs. Judith Cadorette, 19, found strangled with her own bra off Route 93. Oh wait, so this is something different. Murder of a young Tewksbury divorcee. No, that was it. Detective Donald Howard said also that police were aware a car involved in the slaying of Miss Judith 19 found strangled with their own bra on Route 93. Howard would not describe the car, but of the suspects, he said, they're from the greater Merrimack Valley area. Howard said investigators were still piecing together Miss Cadorette's last known hours. Anyone with information is asked to come forward. Miss Cadorette was last seen alive in North Tewksbury restaurant at 11 p.m. on July 2nd. Divorced from her husband, James, of Lowell, she lived with her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Anthony Miranda of Meadow Road in Tewksbury. So now it's just Meadow Road. Meadow Road. Okay. There we go. Now that says Glen Meadow Road. Let's just pretend that was it. I mean, I don't really know. Maybe they named it. Maybe he lived here. I have no idea. And it is in Tewksbury. It's the only road with the word meadow on it. Let's see. Selectmen voted 3-1 last night to begin a voluntary contribution fund payable to whoever leads police to the arrest and conviction of the killer of Dr. F. Mahoney. The Mahoney Fund will be held 1 year if the killer has not been found and convicted in that time. I mean, she's in this article over here, though. Wonder why maybe they said that there's no fund for her. It's probably not really incredibly relevant. But she's in this article here. So maybe they'll use some of the funds. I don't really want to go through this whole thing for that. But it was an article that popped up with her name in it. And then 1977, this one came out. So let's see what this says. That's her right there, too. But you can see on the thumbnail a longer shot of her. A Tewksbury couple whose daughter was slain 4 years ago planned to petition the selectmen for allocation. So this is what this is. They want money. Reward money to their case. Anthony and Alice Miranda are fated to, or let's see, I don't know what that says. It's hard to say what word that is right there. Are something to relive today their personal agony of July 7th, 1973. On that date, Andover construction workers near Route 93, 133 intersection. 93 and 133. Now we can get it. There it is right there. So her body was found right in this area. So somewhere right in this area. It could have been one of these buildings. You know, they said construction workers, so probably not this one. So maybe this building over here. That looks kind of old. Let's see what happens if we go back in time to 1995. Yeah, so that building's there. That's definitely if there's construction workers. Construction workers near Route 183. So this is probably the building. This is there in 1995. So it could be either one of these, but I bet it's this one. That kind of has that look where it's quite a bit older. Let's see if I go to 19... Well, they're both there. You can see the coloration in 1985. You guys still there? We are trying, let's see, the 19-year-old divorcee had been strangled probably on July 2nd. That was the evening she was last seen alive when she joined friends at the, let's see, Warnesville Drive-In. Okay, what does that say? At the Wamisil? Is that an actual... Yeah, Wamisit. Okay. Yeah, Wamisit Drive-In. So that's Wamisit. Is there a drive-in theater still there? Yep. Some people still have them. But Wamisit Lanes. That's bowling alley. Here, I'm going to go back to that 1990. There's still some drive-ins sitting around in 1995. Yeah, it said that, Papa Q, yeah. And it kind of looks like that, but I mean, there's a building here, so. Anyways, I'll just put a pin in here. There's some kind of a drive-in theater around here. Wamisit. That was the evening she was last seen alive when she joined friends at the Wamisit Drive-In. The murder remains unsolved, and to this day, the victim's parents say they are counting the time until the criminal is brought to justice. We are trying to bring this is 5 years later, this article. The young woman was, let's see, the tall young woman with black, thick, tortoiseshell bifocals, and brown hair, wearing dungarees and hiking boots. Wait, hold on. Let's go up here. The someone Miranda refers to as an informant, some individual who can cast light on the events of that July evening 4 years ago when Judy Miranda called home to say she was stopping off briefly after the movie for a cup of tea. The tall young woman with thick tortoise shell bifocals and brown hair, wearing dungarees and hiking boots, did in fact go alone to the Pewter Pot restaurant at Stadium Plaza. Where is that? Is that still there? Stadium Plaza? Yeah. Oh, so it's close to this. I mean, it's right here. So this is where she went. This is the Pewter Pot Restaurant. Somewhere in there. Makes you wonder then if is that theater right around here? There's a ton of places that look like it. It could be, and there's this huge. But she would have heard. So it says she did in fact go alone to Pewter Pot Restaurant at Stadium Plaza, but she would have hurried home soon after her parents contend for an expected phone call from her fiance. Judy Miranda was just 6 weeks short of her second wedding to Gary Marcella of Methuen. But what happened when the victim disappeared into the night is not known. The Andover police who handled the case are stumped. Detective Sergeant Robert B. Parker says new leads have turned up since Miranda's first husband, James Cadorette, was questioned along with many other suspects. Essex County District Attorney John P.S. Bart confirmed this week that while Andover and state police have pursued numerous leads in the Miranda case over the years, we've just as frustrated as anyone else. But the Miranda family still hopes next Tuesday night the victim's parents will ask for Tewksbury selectmen to designate their case as the recipient of about $400 available in reward money. Well, you know, I mean, you guys could probably raise a little bit more than that, right? I mean, I know it's back then, but, you know, it's not that crazy. Victims' parents wonder about amount of reward. Formal announcement of a reward for information leading to the... This is 1977 again. So they just want... This is just... They want the formal announcement. Judith Cadorette was brutally strangled on or about July 2nd, 1973 after she left friends at a local drive-in. Her body was found 5 days later in an isolated construction site off Route 93 and 133. Andover police confess all leads thus far have proven fruitless, but the murdered woman's parents still remain hopeful that some small bit of information could help. Miss Miranda is particularly interested in hearing from Seabers who remember her daughter's handle Kit Kat. Hey, we've got a Kit Kat in here. Can you believe it? Spelled exactly the same. So that's kind of a picture of her. I mean, it's so blurry. That's about as good as you get, though. There's nothing else. If you squint your eyes, you can kind of... So let's see what it says. Since 1973, police... This is an article from this year, actually. From, matter of fact, today. That's weird, because I've had this folder built up, but then today there's an article. It's pretty interesting. Since 1973, police have been seeking answers on... So I just looked it up more today, and then that one popped up, but I didn't really register that this article's from today. Had I done it yesterday, this wouldn't be there. Yeah, since 1973, police have been seeking answers on Judith Miranda Cadorette after her body was found in a wooded area in Andover. Thursday is the 50th anniversary of her death, and police are asking the public for information according to a Massachusetts State Police release. Cadorette was last seen on July 2nd, 1973 at the Holiday Inn near Route 38. Huh, Holiday Inn now. That's a totally different story. Maybe there was something else going on there. Hold on. Holiday Inn. Oh wait, there's Route 38. Holiday Inn in yeah, there's that 133 again. There's 133. Her body was found over here. And there's like 38 goes to 133, and then 133 goes around through Tewksbury, and then her body was found 93 to here. So this person is like getting back onto the freeway probably. At the time, it probably didn't look like that. There wasn't the clover leaf back in 73. I mean, it also could have went down this way and then went like that. Yeah, I don't know where did they say that was? Holiday Inn near Route 38 and Interstate 495. Okay, let's see where. I'm just going to put a pin on 38. And then I-495. Right there. Okay, so we're right in that spot still. So it's right here, and there's the restaurant, but apparently it was a Holiday Inn, not the Pewter Pot restaurant. So I think somebody, over their investigation over the years, led to something else. Hotels in a second. Okay, there's one right there. Well, it says, why does it say Walmart? I didn't. Oh, no, Motel 6. I bet you that was the Holiday Inn. See, it's 38, 495. So I'm gonna guess this one. All right. So let's do it again. Cadorette was last seen on July 2nd, 1973 at the Holiday Inn near Route 38 and Interstate 495 in Tewksbury. Her body was found 4 days later in a wooded area near the ramp from Interstate 93 south to... Now we can get more detail here. So the ramp from Interstate 90... Let's go over here. This is 93 south. Yeah, see? From okay. Wooded area near the ramp from Interstate 93 south to Route 1. Okay, so you're... Actually, it's this one right here, right? So, south, near the ramp from Interstate 93 to Route 93. Wait, or, I mean, to Route 133. So it's probably right there, not here. So I'm not sure why construction workers found her, but it's probably more in this area. And it's probably actually more around over here. She was 19 years old. She was 19 years old at the time, with long dark hair and poor eyesight. Cadorette lived in the town of Tewksbury and was a regular at the 495 Drive-In Movie Theater, Holiday Inn Lounge, and Pewter Pot Restaurant in Tewksbury, police said. We're always looking for evidence, leads, witnesses, and new information in any murder case, so no matter how many years have passed, said Glenn Johnson, a spokesperson from Essex County District Attorney's Office, in an email to Mass Live. We hope this sad anniversary may prompt some advancement in the case to bring justice to Judith and those who knew and loved her. If anyone has information regarding the homicide of Cadorette, contact Andover Police Sergeant Mark Higginbottom at 978-623-3500 or Tewksbury Police Detective Sergeant Michael Donovan at 978-851-7373, Massachusetts State Police Lieutenant Peter Sherber at 978-766-5823, or the Essex District Attorney's Office at 978-745-6610. Hell, maybe I'll call over there just to see if they can give us more information. You know, I mean, the more information you have, the better. Anyways, isn't that sad, you guys? There's stories just like that one all over the place. We cover them all the time here, but you'll never see a story like that covered on 99% of the true crime channels, who all they want to do is peddle in the crazy conspiracy wacko stories. Because it sells everybody. It sells. In fact, we had, 400, well, we still got 395, but we had 400 and some odd people before, and it got boring for them, so. Yeah. Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Maybe we'll as soon as we get the full story on the previous case, we'll definitely discuss that one. But that's all there is in this case right here. She was at a drive-in, went to a store, then got strangled to death. And then was at a hotel, maybe. You wonder if they have any information whatsoever. Yeah, it was pretty fun, but it always gets heated whenever you talk about the hot car. Every time you try to have a rational conversation about the hot car death thing, and how there's really good people that this happens to, and really good parents even, and it never turns out well. It turns into a shit show because everyone gets so outraged and want to punish people. I like to punish bad people, not like I want people that are evildoers. For example, if you went full bore on somebody for that kind of negligence, you could get them like 25 years in prison, where you've got a psycho rapist over here that got 15. That makes sense? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I mean, she didn't get really 19 years old. She was just about to get married again to somebody else that she met doing ham radio. That was kind of interesting. So, anyways, thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Thanks to Dobby Smith, Jessica Schubach, Jean Darcy, Kathy Chapin, K. Me, Caligal 3, Jim Lon, Zoe 413, Caligal 3 again. Thank you. My friend left 2 dogs in a car and got called away by a neighbor, and the dogs died. She said I killed my best friends. Horrible. Okay. American Love You Gray, we'll just have to disagree. I mean, yeah, but she was getting mad. WNC Granny, Simple Life Days, Danielle, Lisa Murphy, K. Me, Bama Forever, Mag, Jenny Surfer, Tracy Harrison, Juniper, Tarot and Magic, The Spiritual Genie, Shelley Pink, An American Lady, Simple Life Days, then Bama Forever with the cat eye, then Tracy, Kathy Chapin, Kit Kat, Kathy Friedmaker, Simple Life Days, K-Me, 15 Lee. Anyways, thank you guys. We got to the goal on here. Very cool. Appreciate it. I don't know if there's any. Let me go check the see if no. Well, let's see. Somebody had the time to look it up. Drive-in for the movie. Watching fun in Tewksbury. Merrimack Valley Pavilion. Let's see if, I mean, who knows if that's the same one. Drive-ins were just all over the place back in the day. Let's see where this is, though. I don't know. Somewhere around in here. That's what they're saying. That's a different case, the other one. So maybe that's the drive-in. I don't know. Don't know. And what's the other thing? Yeah, I already found that stuff. God, it's like you're spamming my email. I'm done covering it. Let's see where this one is. Maybe it's still there. Hold on. But I'm going based on where they said it was, not where there is one. Because they could have just built another one. Let's see, did I get it right? They said it's near, it's supposed to be near 495 and 38. This isn't near there. This is something else over here. So nope, that's not right. I guess there's a Holiday Inn right over here, but that's not the one that they were talking about. Although that's, what does this say here? 495 and 133. Let me go back to that last article. Before we get out of here. Thanks, Papa Q. Let me go look at this. Hold on a second. Holiday Inn near Route, so it's Route 38 and 495. This is 495 and 133. 38's over here and 495. They wouldn't use the side road if it was this one. They would have said something totally different. So I think at one time there was a Holiday Inn right around here. And you can probably just go down to the ground and look in the air and you could, oh geez, really? Yeah, so somewhere around in here was probably a, I mean, I chose this place because it is right next to the intersection and it's another hotel. So I bet you if you looked up that this Motel 6 used to be a Holiday Inn. Don't you think? Yeah. Well, we could even do something where you can go to newspapers.com and do a Holiday Inn Tewksbury. Two women testify in Mahoney murders. That's kind of weird. What's going on here? Wouldn't that be random if like this somehow was related? Now you type in Holiday Inn, there's some murder in Mahoney murders. Donald Wilson was quoted as saying he had car problems and asked to use the Mahoney telephone to call assistance when he returned to the Holiday Inn Tewksbury, where the others waited. That'd be kind of random, wouldn't it? Wait, hold on. All the end. So it says 90. There it is. Here we go. I think this is it right here. This has the address. 95 Main Street, Tewksbury. That's 1984. I bet it should be right around here. Come on. Oh! Can I get a boom? There it is. That was a Holiday Inn, suckers. There you go. You wonder how the hell... Isn't that amazing? Come on, you guys. Where's my boom? Because that was it. I looked it up and it lands right on the building that we were already at. See how it like trumps, like just using logic, it works. Yeah, right there. Look at that. 1984 Holiday Inn, Tewksbury, 95 Main Street. I typed it in and there it is. 95 Main Street is now the Motel 6, but was a Holiday Inn. Come on, Papa Q. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That was pretty good. Man, I should just tap myself on the back. Pat myself on the back there. All right, anyways, thank you guys very much for being here tonight. Thanks, Papa Q, right there at the end there. Appreciate your help. We'll see you tomorrow morning where you get some more Johnny Depp going on. Got to get that new sound effect, though. Where he's like, man, let me see. Maybe I have it. Hold on a second. You guys, you got to listen to this thing. I need this. Hold on. Might take a minute. Are you guys still there? You guys type in boom and then just not one other comment again. Hello. Are we frozen or something?
Drug of choice is, or was, and it is marijuana. That's all that was fine for me.
This guy. I don't know if you guys are even still here, so I gotta go. All right. There's like no comments going on. Are you guys, is the chat broken or what happened? I think it's broken. All right, see you guys later.